Okay, let's talk about hooking your trailer up to any vehicle. You want to use the touch method. Anytime I'm hooking up the trailer, I touch it once, I hook it up, I touch it twice, I check it, and before I drive away, I touch it 3 times. Always 3 times touch method. So let's go ahead and hook up the trailer and get you set up. First things first, you're gonna wanna install, just as business as usual, your lock and roll hitch. In this case, because my trailer is the same height, if not a little higher than my Suburban, we're gonna install this upside down. Now you can order higher 4-inch instead of the 2.5-inch from Lock and Roll, but each of our trailers comes with a 2-inch lift. Make sure that your pin is in there, and you can even replace this pin with a locking pin. Now, each of these has a Zerk fitting on here in order to grease the lock and roll here and to grease this side of the trailer. Make sure that before you get started, just a little tip and trick, that you turn this over, obviously. Here we go. Make sure that your hook here is just hung over by your grease fitting. That way when you set the trailer in, you don't have to take the trailer off and then flip it over. I'll show you what I mean. So what I like to do is I like to take my hand and wiggle the rolling jack and get it right above where it needs to be. And then what you can do is you just lower the rolling jack and it will go right into there and it will just fall right into place. Super easy. This is why we love lock and roll. And then you're gonna flip this over and flip this over. And this is probably the most important part. So make sure that your jack is all the way off the ground at this part. And then these rings should be dropped down. So sometimes I like to take this and just knock this down a little bit. And this pin is probably the most important pin. This is what keeps the glory of the lock and roll working and safe. This is the most important part of the whole process. This pin, if you want to get multiple of these, keep them on board, but this pin keeps these hooks locked into place so your lock and roll cannot go anywhere. And then this is a locking pin that I like to use. Kind of a pain in the butt to remove, but you install it right there and you're set to go. Now again, touch. Make sure that my pin's in. Make sure that my bolt is all good. Make sure that my pin here is good. Okay, pass inspection. Touch, 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 touch. Overly touch. Number 2, we're going to hook up our 7-pin, right? So very, very simple. Just take your 7-pin over to your vehicle, plug it in. Easy peasy, business as usual. I'm doing this with one hand, so you have to forgive me. Let's go here, lift it up. Just like that. Then we're gonna use our safety hooks. Hook them up to the vehicle. 1 and 2. And the most important part of your safety is your breakaway. Now, each of your trailers is equipped with an electronic breakaway that has its own battery. This pin, if pulled, will lock up your brakes. So you're gonna take this carabiner right here and you're gonna hook it up just to the same place. That way we're all safe. And again, touch. Make sure my cables are hooked up, my pins are all set, everything's great, nothing's hanging down too crazy. We got our Anderson plug here that we should probably zip tie back up to here. And last but not least, the most important thing is your handbrake and your rolling jack. If your handbrake is not down, you will burn up your brakes and also burn up your bearings. So make sure your handbrake is down at every single point when you're pulling away from camp. All right, now to put away your rolling jack, you're gonna pull this pin up, twist the rolling jack, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this handle off and put it up inside your front box. Just like that. It has its own chain, so you can drop it, then bring the rolling jack all the way up. Now I like to have my rolling jack facing forward. That way when I go off-roading, it doesn't hit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it facing up. There's these little pins that this pin will go into. And then I'm gonna pull this away and turn it sideways. So now that I pulled this away and then turned it sideways, it's back into its pins. And I'm gonna take this pin and put it back in here, back in its safety position. Let's go in, all the way seated, and make sure it's seated all the way through. That way you know it's not gonna go anywhere when you're driving. Last but not least, take your magnetic rolling jack handle, throw it up in your junk drawer, close your front of your trailer up, and again, touch. Everything's good. Touching, my handbrake's down, everything's locked up to go, and we're rocking. Safety is the #1 thing when we're towing our trailers. We want to make sure that your trailer is hooked up properly. The second most important thing to safety is when you get to camp. A lot of us will end up at slanted campgrounds, or we'll end up in places where it's maybe not flat, right? And so when you're getting to camp, make sure that you're pulling the handbrake chalking the wheels, maybe putting down a balancer or two, and then taking it off your vehicle. You never want to take the trailer off and just trust the handbrake on these 10-inch brakes. Sometimes you haven't tensioned them. These brakes do require servicing, and so if you haven't serviced them in a while, it's always good to take the extra precaution or measure to put chocks in those wheels, or to pull the handbrake, or dropping a balancer and using your 19mm on impact will actually give the ground something to bite, and your trailer can't run away from you. I had in a moment a couple months ago where I left my safety chains attached to my vehicle before I even drove away from camp. That way I knew that even if I chalked the trailer wrong or I didn't pull the handbrake, that if the trailer walked away from me as I unhooked it from the vehicle, those safety chains were there to stop the vehicle from rolling away.